So in this exercise, we are asked to graph y plus 3 squared over 16 minus x plus 2 squared over 9 equals 1. We recognize that that is a hyperbola because both x and y terms are being squared and subtraction is involved in between with 1 on the right-hand side of the equation. We also should note that we know it opens up and down because the y squared term is positive. It's x that's being subtracted from y, not the other way around, y being subtracted from x. So now we're going to look at our vertices, a squared, and remember we're looking at the form y minus k squared over a squared minus x plus 2 squared, or x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. So a squared equals 16, meaning a equals 4. And b squared equals 9, meaning b equals 3. So our center is hk. That's going to be -2, -3, because it's x minus -2. X plus 2 is x minus -2, so h is -2. And y plus 3 is y minus -3, so k is -3. So with A, we're going to go up and down 4 from our center. Let's go ahead and we'll draw in our center, -2, -3. We'll go ahead and indicate a scale of 1. But typically, unless it's something different, we don't need to indicate a scale of 1. If it's a scale of 2, 20, whatever that scale is, we would need to indicate that. Generally, with 1, we don't need to. But since A equals 4, we're going to go up and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for our major axis vertices. Let's verify that by just subtracting and adding 4 to the coordinates. So -3 minus 4 is going to be -7. And -3 plus 4 is going to be 1. And that is verified. We're at -2, 1 and -2, -7 for our major vertices, major axis vertices points. So with b squared equals 9 and b equals 3, we're going to go left and right 3 from our center. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we can draw our box once we verify these points. So now -2 is what's going to change because we're going left and right, the x direction. So -2 minus 3 is -5, -3. And -2 plus 3 is going to be 1, -3. And those are the points that we have plotted based on going that distance on the graph from our center. So we draw in our box. Then we draw in our asymptotes, which go through the corners of those boxes, or of that box. And then last but not least, we know it opens up and down, so we draw in the hyperbola with the curve starting at the major axis vertices and then infinitely approaching those asymptotes. And we know that the slope, in this case, since y comes first, the slope should be plus or minus a over b. So that's plus or minus 4 over 3. So our positive slope asymptote should have a slope of 4/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 up, rise over 1, 2, 3 run. So that's verified. And the same thing with our negative slope should be negative 4/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 down over 1, 2, 3 over. Rise over run is negative 4/3. So the slopes of our asymptotes are verified based on that. So again, to recap, we know it opens up and down because the y squared term comes first. The x squared term is being subtracted. We know the center is at hk when we're in standard form, which is -2, -3. We find a based on our a squared. Then we move that direction up and down from our center. We find b, and then we move left and right that amount from our center to form our box. Draw our asymptotes through that box, and then draw in the curve that represents the hyperbola approaching those asymptotes, opening up and down.